Some of you may know, if you follow me on Instagram, that about 6 months ago I picked up my first air-cooled Porsche in the form of a 1988 Porsche 911 Carrera Sport in God's Red. And in this video, firstly I want to introduce you to the car, go through some of the things that I picked up in my short ownership, and go through some of the finer details of the car. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you how much I paid for the car, what are my thoughts on some modifications that I've been thinking about, and how I'm finding the car in general. So it's a 1988 model, which has just ticked over, it's about to go on to 95,500 miles. It is in really good condition. I'm not going to say mint, and I'm not going to say perfect condition, because there are a few little marks here and there which I will come on to, but overall it's very good. It's finished in God's Red, which is a very classic colour for one of these classic Porsche 911s. When it came to picking a colour, I wasn't really that concerned. I would have also went for a black one, a grey one, a blue one. It's just what I was more interested in was finding a car in really good condition. And this car just so happened to fit the bill. Now it was pretty convenient that when I was looking, I actually found this car within 15 miles of where I live. Normally I'm traveling all over the country to pick up cars. So it was really convenient, and it made the whole decision process a lot easier for me. I was able to check it over, do my own checks. I was a little bit out of my comfort zone, I will be honest with you, because as you probably know, I'm more inclined to go and buy a water cooler, a newer generation 911. So this is my first sort of delve into the air-cooled world. I was a little bit out of my depth, but with the help of the seller, who was a little bit of a classic car enthusiast himself, he helped me over a few of the things that I need to be looking for, and we checked those things over together, and I was happy with the overall condition of the vehicle. So interior wise, it smells like an antique shop in here, but it's all in excellent condition. It's finished in black, which would be my first choice, so I'm really pleased about that. You do see some kind of like blue colours and grey colours, which I'm not saying I don't like them, I just much prefer the black. The dashboard, excellent condition. The seats, used but excellent condition. It has the Porsche classic infotainment system, so it's the PCM system, so it allows you to hook your phone up, to give you Bluetooth, to give you iTunes. It's very good. It does cost a lot of money. I think it costs about £1,500. So I'm very pleased that the previous owner had fitted it and let it go with the vehicle as well. He could have easily took that out, put the original radio back in, but I'm very pleased that he left it. So would I have paid £1,500 for that system? Honestly, probably not, but I'm pleased he left it. It's a very good system. Steering wheel is this kind of 3-spoke wheel, which I believe comes from a 944 Club Sport. I could be wrong on that. So before we get into what it's actually like to drive the car, I wanted to point out a few of the imperfections around the bodywork. There are a few, it's nothing too disastrous or anything like that. So if we pull up the windshield wiper there, we can see there's a little bit of delamination here on the corner. I don't know if it's a seal issue or a problem with the windscreen itself. It isn't getting any bigger in the 6 or 7 months that I've owned the car, so I am just going to keep an eye on it. It's not affecting the way the car drives or doesn't affect anything else in the vehicle, but it just doesn't look very good. So keep an eye on that. Hopefully that's not going to get any worse, but ultimately I might need a new windscreen or might need new seals. Now I doubt you can pick it up on this, but there are a few kinks in the door here, I can see it just there, and I know there's a fire truck coming behind me. I don't know what he's doing, but we'll soon find out if he wants to talk to me. But there's a few kinks there, which don't look great, but they do have to be pointed out. Again, on the front here, we've got a little chip there, got a bit of a big dent there, and a couple of other smaller ones dotted around this front area here. There's actually quite a big one there as well. There's a bit of corrosion around this indicator here, so that might need to be completely sorted and rubbed back and freshly painted. So what is it like to drive? Well, it's very different, very different. The steering is heavy. It doesn't have power steering. It doesn't have ABS. It doesn't have an airbag. The pedals are offset to the left, so you've kind of got to angle your body. When using the gears, the car kind of wants to be driven at speed, because when you start to slow down, the steering gets really, really heavy again. So it's in your best interest if you keep it in gear and try and use the gears you've got to go around the corners without actually having to stop. Try and keep the car at speed, which I think may well explain why a lot of these cars always seem to be driven fast, or maybe they just look fast. It's got the G50 gearbox, which is very, very smooth. It's smooth as butter, in fact. There are two gearboxes on these cars, the G50, which is fitted here, and also the 915 gearbox, which does have a little bit of a bad reputation. I've driven a 915 gearbox. It was tough, it was rough, but I probably just think that gearbox probably needed a rebuild. From people that I've spoken to, they say that the 915 gearbox is very good if it works correctly and if it's serviced properly. So there probably is a lot of truth in that, but this is the G50, so all I can really talk about is the G50, and it's super. It's really, really good. When it comes to the power of the car, I can put my foot down and it still pulls really, really well in a straight line without any vibrations or rattles or anything like that. If I'm honest with you, I would like more power, but it's not the end of the world. It's a car that can be driven to its limits. The problem with newer sports cars is that you can't make full use of the power that's available on the roads that we have, certainly in the UK in any case. Whereas these cars, you can use all of the power when you get a nice, twisty, long, swooping road. So I'm not saying that the newer cars are bad, they're just very, very different to these cars. And the previous owner did show me a dyno run of this car, which was pumping out actually just a little bit more than what the car produced from factory. So that's impressive. In fact, it's very impressive for a car which is what, 36, 37 years old. Attention wise, yeah, it gets the thumbs up everywhere it goes. People want to talk to me about it, the dreamers, the guys who used to own one, the guys who are planning to get one, or the guys who had never even thought about one, and they see it and they think, I might dip my toe into the air-cooled world. The older guys all say the same thing: wish I'd have kept mine. And when it comes to the driving experience, are there any things that I don't like about it? Well, absolutely not. You have to expect that it's an old car, so you can't expect modern technology in the way and a modern vehicle driving systems in an old car. There is one thing that kind of annoys me a little bit, and it is the heater and the cold air system here. I've no idea how it works. It seems to give me a different output every time I change one of these sort of long swooping levers here. So I've never really figured it out. I don't know if it's just I'm doing something wrong, or I don't know if it's just actually broken. But sometimes it seems to give out a horrible like chirping fan noise from underneath. So maybe it just needs looking at. Maybe I just need to learn how to use it properly. I have looked at the manual. It wasn't any help. But 6 months into my ownership, I flippin' love this car. I absolutely stand by my decision to buy this. Alright, so what about modifications and how much I actually paid for the car? Well, when it comes to price of the car, I paid £55,500. Now, it's not cheap, not expensive. It's probably about right. The worry though was paying about right money for a car which is not good underneath. And I think I've got a good car. A few of the essential things like the kidney bowels, they've all been stripped back, they've been checked, they're all in good working order. So there's only a little bit of corrosion which you've probably seen in the last clip. But when it comes to getting a car for value for money, I think this is probably good value for money, because not necessarily price wise, but the condition wise of the car. So I believe I've got a good deal, and I was happy enough to pay that, so no complaints when it comes to that. When it comes to modifications on the car, I am going to be doing a few things, yes. So first of all, and actually I should say that all of the modifications that I'm going to do, or might do, can be put back to standard. So I know a lot of you will probably give me a bit of hate for this, but this whale tail here, as much as I like it on the classic cars, you probably heard me say it a million times that I just prefer the sleek classic lines of a 911. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to source a new deck lid, just put the black mesh grille over the top here, so I can have this if I need to go back to it, or if I choose to go back to it, but I can also have the classic style look as well. A bit the same with my 997. You might see that in the corner of the shop there. It's the spoiler for my 997, but currently I've got a flat deck lid on there. So that's one of the things. As we come around the side of the vehicle, am I still in shot? Yes, I am. So I'm probably going to lower this just by a little bit, maybe like half an inch, maybe an inch max. Hopefully get some new wheels. I'm going to keep the Fuchs wheels, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a wider Fuchs wheel, probably like 9-inch on the back, and that's going to allow them to sort of sit more in this arch, a lot prettier and a lot nicer. That's one of the things. Obviously I'd probably get some matching fronts as well. LED headlight upgrade I'm probably going to do. I can hear you now shouting at me, don't do it, these are original lights. Look, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep the lights and probably get some matching smoked front indicator lights as well. Maybe a Ken Wong performance chip on the inside of the car. Well, I'm probably going to get a different steering wheel. I don't mind this steering wheel, I don't mind it at all. It's just I've got my eye on a different one which I just prefer the look of. And again, these seats are good, they fit the car perfectly, but I might get a set of bucket seats. Not 100% on that, I'd like to. It all depends on how far my money goes. And yeah, I might get a Ken Wong performance chip as well. Not entirely sure on that actually, but I'll see how my money goes. I'll see how these modifications go first of all. But like I say, all of these things that I'm thinking about doing, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do it, but also if I do them, they will be reversible. I think it's probably important for me to remember that I'm a newbie to the air-cooled world, and as such I should probably proceed with caution. So I'm going to leave the car as it is, probably for my first year of ownership, and then start doing a few tweaks here and there. I probably need to give it a different approach to the way I'd approach my water-cooled 911s, like I've done with my 991s, like I've done with my 997s. These are just a different kettle of fish. I need to get used to the cars. I need to understand how they work. And I think that'll make my experience a lot more pleasant if I treat it with respect, but also learn the car and understand how it drives and how it performs. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not.